In our previous video, we learned how to install and set up Java, right? In this video, we'll be learning about Maven and how to set up Maven. But it is important to note that you cannot install Maven without installing Java. So you have to go through the previous video. Make sure you have that previous video set up, the Java setup, before coming into this one. All right. So let's just install that and then come back here to that video. Now, before we set up Maven, all right, let us understand what Maven is even all about, right? Let's just have an idea of what Maven is all about. Maven is pretty much a build tool, primarily used by Java, right? And it is owned by Apache. What it does is it helps to simplify the process of managing dependencies, build projects, and automate tasks like packaging, testing, and deployment. I know you're wondering what is all this saying, right? So now let's just pick up the keynotes here, but as time goes on, you'd understand every word I'm saying, right? Now, Maven is a build tool. What does that mean? Maven helps us to automate the process of compiling Java code, which means it helps us to pretty much compile the code and put it in different formats like jar or WOFA. What does that mean, right? There are certain formats into which certain things run. So it also applies here that Java needs to be run in either a jar file or WOFA. Let's just understand that first, right? Now, there are other tools that does the same thing Maven does, right? Like helps us to package our jar files or help us to compile our jar files, as the case may be. One of them is pretty much the Ant, and you also have the Gradle. In the next video, I'll be talking about Gradle and how to set up Gradle, right? Another keynote here to understand is managing dependency, right? What does managing dependency mean, right? So for example, we have an application, and maybe we have a requirement that says we need to read a particular file. Let's assume it's an Excel file or maybe a CSV file, right? Java primarily itself cannot do that, right? You need certain libraries to do it. Now, so maybe just to read the CSV file, right? So you need certain libraries. Maven helps us to do things like that and put those particular libraries in place. Downloads it from where it's hidden or where it's been placed and brings it to your project and make sure that you are able to complete those tasks, right? Someone will say, okay, yeah, why not just go download it? That's too much work. And one of the downside of just going to download the jar file, because you could just download the jar file and put it in your project. But one of the downside for that is, let's assume tomorrow you have a different version, from version 1.0 to 2.0, for example, right? You then go back again and manually download the version 2.0 and delete the version 1.0, which is too much work. Or let's just take, for example, some particular dependencies, some particular, like Hibernate, for example, that uses like 6 jars or 7 jars. That's too much, right? Maven helps us to manage things like that and makes it easy and makes our life easy, right? All right. The next thing is that we know that Maven is specifically built for and with Java, right? Maven follow a particular structure, which is the project object model concept, right? Project object model, and it's extensively built in XML, which is extensible markup language. Don't worry if you don't understand it. As time goes on, you would understand, right? Now, Maven has a specific directory structure. And when you look at the directory structure here, you have the source main Java, the source resources, and the test Java. This specifically is what that structure is. Now, when you talk about Maven itself, and when you talk about the project object model, something I forgot to mention here is, I need you to understand a particular structure where I will show you when we are setting it up. Is you would understand that when you're setting up your project, there are certain things. The first thing is the Actified ID, the group ID, and the version. I would show you that in when we're setting it up. There are certain goals you can actually complete when using Maven, right? One of them is compiling your code, making sure that your code is compiled and is running the way it should run, right? So you can do a lot of goals using Maven, right? Then why Maven? Why do you need Maven? As I said earlier, it helps us to pretty much manage our dependencies, putting those dependencies into place. makes it easy for us, right, to see those dependencies and to manage those dependencies. Just pretty much for management purposes, you need Maven. It helps us to create consistency when it comes to project structure. What do I mean by that? Maven encourages is a particular layout, a standard layout, to make a project easy and understand and also maintain. It will be easy for you to find things when you're looking for them when it comes to automation, right? Maven helps us to like automate repetitive tasks, such like the testing, the deployment, or the completion, right? Or compilation rather. The compilation, testing, and deployment. Maven makes our life easy when it comes to that. Don't worry, as we go on, you would understand how to do these things and you see them work in life, right? Maven supports a lot of plugins that can be added for additional functionalities. Say, for example, you want to generate a report, right? You want to generate a report in your application. So Maven gives us those ability to do that, right? It helps us to solve dependency update issue. What does that mean? As I said earlier, when you want to, say, for example, you have version 1, version 2, version 3, you could easily, right, using Maven, you could easily just go into your POM file and just specify the version you want. Then it picks up the version and downloads the version. And you don't have to go download the JAWS yourself, right? That is straightforward. All right. The common Maven commands we have are the Maven clean, Maven compile, Maven test, Maven package, Maven install. Now, we will use all this as time goes on in the next videos when we create projects and then we just play around with them, right? So let's get right into how to set up Maven on our computer. The first thing you want to do is just go to Google and just type in download Maven, right? And the first link you see is the Apache Maven, which is the best one we want to use, right? So just click on that. And then let's download the zip file. I already have the zip file downloaded and I already have it downloaded and renamed. I just renamed it just to be sure. I just want to use Maven 3.99, right? It's inside. All right. So now I would copy that. Now watch, when you download and unzip, it has like the folder with the bin, right? When you go in that, you see the other folder that you need exactly. All right. So just copy that one. For me, I'm just going to copy it and keep it in my C drive just to keep it safe. Okay. I already have it here, which is good. Okay. I already have it in my C drive. All right. Good. And the last thing, or the next thing you want to do is pretty much making sure that you have it in your environment variable. How do you do that? You just go there and type in, go to your Windows and type in environment, ENV, and then you would see the system properties, right? In the system properties, click on the environment variable, right? Good. Now I have to note that you need to install Java. You need Java installed before you can install Maven, else it would not work. If you haven't installed Java, I have created a video previously on how to install Java. Just install your Java first before you can do this. All right, that's the prerequisite for this. All right, let's go on. Now, what we need to do is just create our variable, right? Just name it Maven home. And then you remember the path to which we dropped our folder earlier for the Maven. It's in our C drive, right? We just do a browse and then click on the C drive, and this is it, right? This is the path to it. All right, and you click OK. Now, one more thing here. You need to go into the path and create the same Maven home, just as I've created here. You need to create the Maven home, and with the percentage Maven home percentage and / bin. Bin is where you really want to go. Okay, so let's click OK. We'll do the same thing for the system variable. Set the Maven underscore home, and then you go to the same path through to which it's sitting. Just click on the OK button, and you go straight again into the path. Okay, and you want to do the same thing. Create the percentage Maven underscore home percentage then / bin. All right, press the OK button and OK button and then OK button. Now let's test this. Let's test our Maven that it works, right? So we're going to your command prompt And then you just want to check your Maven version first off. Let's check the Maven version. All right. So if you see this response is giving us that we have a Maven version of 3.99. It tells us the paths to which Maven is sitting. It also gives us the Java version which was installed on our computer. All right. Let's do something a little bit extra. First off, let's cd into our document, right? Document folder. All right. Now let's go back to the Apache Maven page, right? Let's click on this users and let's just do, you see they have a document here on how to even do it. So you could always do that. Now, but let's go to the 5 minutes test. Earlier, I tested using this and it came back with this, right? Came back to something that looks like this. Now let's create an application. Just let's create a project. What is a project? Project is pretty much an application, right? I'm trying to create an application. All right. So let's go back to the document folder. Just paste what I just copied, and it should create a project for you, right? Good. So it's successful, and it has successfully created an application in my document path. All right. Let's go look at that document, that particular application that was created. This is the application that was created. Now, if you remember earlier when I was talking about the structure of a Maven application, the structure always follows this: the app name, then the source, the test, the main. The main is where the application itself is always sitting. If you remember, I was talking about artifact ID and the group ID. Now, this is where you'd understand what things like that means. Now, if you see, you have I was mentioning something about abc.com or ABC LLC. So this is my company name, for example, and of course the .com. And then if you go in here, it tells you the name of the app itself. The name of the app is app, and then gives me the Java classes. That is straightforward. Hopefully it's straightforward for you. Now, we now have the pom.xml here, right? Pom.xml. If you don't understand what pom.xml is, I'll go over this again, right? Now, this holds the group ID, the artifact ID, and the version. Now, what is the group ID? As I said earlier, the group ID is pretty much, okay, unique to your own company, for example. So this is like my company.com / maybe app. And then my app name is the artifact ID, right? And then the version of it. So hopefully that is straightforward. Now, if you look at this, I was also mentioning about dependencies. For example, I mentioned something about CSV file, trying to read CSV file, you need dependencies and those slides. Now, this is a structure on how you input the this dependency for that CSV file. We will go into it and you would understand it. We'll do it little by little so you understand, right? You could pick it. And also when you're talking about the plugins which you can use all different plugins. You have like this Clean plugin, Resource plugin, Soundfire, and those Jar plugins. So, but we will go straight into this. But I want us to understand that you could create a Maven application just like this, right? So this is good. We've just created a Maven application, right? So now let's go back to the page, right? Let's go back to the page. Now, as I said earlier, it follows a certain structure, right? This is pretty much the structure of it. And then your pom.xml, this is what it looks like, okay? So let's run the next thing, which is let's build that project and using Maven package, right? So when you just do a Maven, let's go into the app first. Of course, you want to cd into it, right? I think the name of it is my app, right? So let's go into my app. Good. Now let's just do a Maven package. Okay. Maven package, I copied from here. Straightforward, all right? So, good. We want to see green. No reds, all right? So, it built successfully, all right? So, the next thing is, let's try to run that application and just make sure that it comes back with just a simple hello world. What do I mean by just a simple hello world? Why should it come back with an hello world? All right, let's get that straight, right? If you notice, I told you the structure of it, and I said this particular structure where you have the Java is where your files should be sitting. Now, you have an application in there, or you have some lines of code in there, simply just to return hello world. And this is that particular one. What it does is just to simply return an hello world. You can do more if you want, but what this is doing is just to return a simple hello world. Okay. All right. So that's why I'm saying let's run it and see if it comes back with a simple hello world, just like that. All right. And then you just copy this and then you paste it. Okay. Let's just paste that. Good. So it comes back with a simple hello world. All right. So hopefully this has been helpful to you guys. Right. If you have any questions, just leave a question. If you have any issues, just leave your comments in the comment sections, and I'll be able to help out with any issues you have. All right. So once again, I'm excited to be your instructor for this particular journey of building excellence. Right. Please subscribe, leave your comments, click the notification button so that you'll be able to see our new videos, and most importantly, share with your friends. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.